Hello, hello. Welcome into the Tavern. Maverick is already doing his good old snore, and I have a really interesting request to work on today. Obviously, we'll talk about it a bit more once we're done with opening. So let's talk about opening first. Today, we're going to do a little bit more. We're kicking off the stream with this Plasmoid Warlock. I haven't gotten to the posing yet because I need to detail this lovely three-piece suit that he has. So that's what we're going to work on right now. I already have some really awesome references to go by based on what you guys gave me in Discord. So thank you again for that. And then for those that were part of the stream yesterday, Ricky and I had a really lovely evening, spent some time in Gatlinburg, went to the Ripley's Aquarium. It was just a really, really wonderful night. Mostly unplanned, which are kind of the best sometimes. I have a poll going right now. These are kind of like little fun warm-ups. If you could get any miniature as a gift, what would it be? Currently in the lead is a large detailed boss monster. Hard to go wrong with that. Followed by a versatile, reusable terrain piece. I say reusable just because it's amazing how far a rock can go. Just like a really nice rock model, you know? And I have a rare or unique creature mini. That would be my vote if YouTube let me vote my own polls, but it doesn't. And then a highly detailed NPC, which no one has picked yet. But a fan favorite of the group NPC can really carry a whole campaign, honestly. Hindsight asks, is this poll going to be used to establish gifts for your favorites this year? Perhaps. I am looking into physical freebies, maybe. Mayblaze says, the terrain piece would be so versatile. And we need to send Mia some leather ties so she can get more comfortable tying her hair back out of the way. Leather? I just use the little clips. I feel like that'd be kind of grabby. We'll see. And then where did he take you to eat? We went to No Way Jose's, mostly because it sounds funny, and when we were driving across the country to move to Tennessee, we saw one in New Mexico, and my husband thought it was just the funniest name for a restaurant. And then it just turns out we've been looking to see one, and then totally unplanned, there was a No Way Jose's cantina right next to the aquarium we went to. Totally unplanned. So it was meant to be. It has this like beautiful river that wraps around the entire restaurant. It was just awesome. And the Mexican food is actually quite good. And we're pretty picky because we're from California. And, well, that's kind of a sentence in itself. But also, we know what good Mexican food tastes like. And I was very optimistic. So we walked in, it kind of had that Mexican restaurant smell when it's legit. And then all of the waiters spoke Spanish, which was very promising. It was great. Mayblaze says, better than rubber bands for your hair, kind of like ribbons. Very cool. Alrighty. My voice is very scratchy this morning, for no good reason. Just haven't talked a whole lot. Had my coffee, and that's about it. Alright, in our Discord, you guys are having an awesome discussion about the new Bamboo Labs printer that dropped today. Two big announcements. One, Monster Hunter Wilds released their, little roadmap and title update details. That's more off topic, but exciting for me. And then more on topic is then Bamboo Labs' new announcement. It's a pretty epic printer. To get everything tricked out, it's like $3,000 US, but it's looking quite worth it. Am I going to buy one? Absolutely not. That is too much of my gross for the year, but who knows? Maybe I'll figure something out with them. I sent me a printer before. Maybe I can get the lowest spec version of this. We'll see. All right. Well, let's start detailing this vest here. Today, I'm glad it's kind of back to a normal stream where I'm totally open for your guys' input and all of that good jazz. All right, I want to make sure that this is all as reusable as possible. So I'm going to make this a bit lower res. I want this entire three-piece suit to be exported to its own piece. So I'm taking these pieces here, merging them down, and then making them very low poly, because it's very silly to have this be over 200,000 points. Yeah, this little thing doesn't need to be so high res. I want to make sure that I'm keeping my poly paint, no matter how basic and simple it is. I can go to Z plugin, Decimation Master, and then enable use and keep poly paint. Click on custom, and that will decimate this down to my 5,000 points. I have 250,000. And look, before and after, looks exactly the same. Very nifty. I can probably come down to 1,000 then. Yes, I can. Excellent. And then I'm just continuing to, excuse me, merge all of these pieces down because I want them to be usable and ready for me when I'm making vests in the future. But I'm exporting it before I detail, and that's very, very intentional because if I detail all of this, as I move it around for future suits in the future, it's going to make it a lot more difficult to work with. I spent a lot of time just getting all these pieces in order, so I don't need to be any more efficient than that. I'm already happy with how much time this would be saving me. I am going to hide these ridiculous tentacles. Very fun. So this is a plasmoid warlock, in case you guys are wondering what exactly is going on here. Let's make sure that all of this fits as nicely as possible. And then similarly, I'm actually going to smooth out the coattails because I want this to be a very simple base mesh to build upon later. I don't want to make a bunch of creative decisions for myself. There we go. Mini Blaze says, an A1 Mini would be great for what you do. Why have an A1 Mini when you have an X1 Carbon? That's what they sent me. Alrighty. So right now I'm just getting everything kind of pieced together here. And as nicely lined as possible. Mini Blaze, tell me about what printers you currently have. I would love to know more about that. And these pieces, these lapels are much too low. Let's go ahead and set those much higher on the shoulders. That looks better. Very nice. And then you'll notice I don't have any buttons either because all of that is decorative. We're just looking for layers. Let's see this undershirt here, how that's looking. Got a little bit of fine topology right here, but mostly good. Mini Blaze says they have a P1S and an Anycubic Mono X that hubby uses. Very nice. So that's cool. So both of you guys are into 3D printing. Is that because you guys both play D&D, or tell me more about that? You know, considering that this is my full-time job is making D&D minis, you'd think I'd play a lot more D&D, but I really don't. It's okay. I play enough video games to make up for it. I've always been more of a gamer than a tabletop gamer. And part of that is because I find, even though D&D is really fun, obviously playing with friends, it is a bit exhausting, in my opinion. Especially because the group I was part of couldn't meet up very often. So instead, we would just do like mega sessions once a month. And my mega sessions, they were like 8 hours long. Which if that's your standard session and that works for you, that's great. But for me, I was like, by the end, I was exhausted and quite over it, honestly. Especially because I'm a little bit more serious of a D&D player, so like I don't mind like the jokes and stuff, but it seems like every 2 seconds someone's trying to run off to a brothel or start a drug cartel, and I'm like, can we please focus on the plot? I would love to play in a D&D campaign, or not just D&D. I don't really care about the system. I just say D&D to mean tabletop games. That was more gritty. Oh, I would love to play like a really punishing like survival base where you really have to like min-max your stats and keep track of everything. Like, the more of a chore my hobby is, the more I like it. I'm not sure why I'm like that, but I've always been like that since I was a little girl. Just a serious little thing. I'm not sure why. My dad mentioned that I've just always been like that. Super detail oriented, likes to be in charge, likes to make decisions. Meant to be a world leader, obviously, just of a fantasy world. No interest in real politics at all. Hindsight says, yeah, you gotta find the right game/table, right? And then Mini Blaze mentions they print because miniature games, RPGs, and historical minis. Very cool. I've done a few historical minis, more so on like the Greek side, but very cool. Hindsight says, but yes, I play one game a month that goes for 7-ish hours. Now we probably only get 3 hours of playtime in that, which kind of drives me nuts, but we have fun, so that's what I'm really there for. Only time I take for myself, really. That checks out, especially because you mentioned you go to school and you have a child. At least one that I know of. Or what did you call it? A crotch goblin? I've never heard that. Very unhinged. I like it. Mayplay says, I remember that when I played 2nd edition D&D, we escaped from a prison and had to start off with nothing and gain along the way. See, that's my kind of campaign. I would really enjoy that. All right, he's looking really snazzy. You'll notice that I don't have the coat here overlapping. And the way that you'll do that is disabling symmetry by clicking X, move topological, and then just click and drag and just nudge. You're gonna manually fold the coat over itself. Just like that. And then you can put your buttons in. I'm intentionally not doing that though, just to give myself some more flexibility. And I like things to be symmetrical when I put them in my asset library. Hindsight says, and yes, I would love to run a gritty, dark game. I would love to be part of that. Hindsight says, 5e isn't great for that, but especially with the way most people play it. Elaborate more. I want to know more about that. Unless you're like trying to get work done, then don't talk the whole time during my stream. But if you aren't being productive, then tell me. Manyplayer says, Star Trek Adventures is pretty good system for RPing. 2d20 system. What is a 2d20 system? Like 2 d20 dices? Interesting. I feel like there's always more to learn about different tabletop systems. There's so many out there. All right, so I'm noticing that this coat, the vest does poke out underneath. I do like that. Just really double checking to make sure that this is fitting the way I want it to. I think we're ready to merge all of these down, and I have this really nice 3-piece suit asset for later. Yes. Perfect. Ooh, and I can't forget the undershirt. There we go. All right, this is a mini piece asset. This is probably one of the more complicated pieces I've ever put in my asset library. I like it. Very versatile. There's a lot they can do to mix and match with this. Perfect, go to my asset library. So I have this selected. I'm now going to go to Tool, Export, my Downloads folder. I have this very nifty organized. I'm going to label it by the category it's going into, which in this case is shirt, and I'll say 3-piece suit. And the name doesn't really matter because I do a visual library anyway, but I just name it so that way I don't have 100 things labeled Extract 1. Hindsight says, a dream game I have to run is a fantasy game with Pulp Cthulhu rules. That sounds gnarly, I like it. Taylor asks, are you making Tuxedo Mask from Sailor Moon? Great question, but no, he's actually, there we go, there's the tentacles. He's a plasmoid warlock. Great question though. This guy needs a fancy cane to finish the outfit when you get to it. It wouldn't hurt. He does look snazzy. Hindsight says Call of Cthulhu is a D100 system, which sounds crazy, but it's actually really simple once you get it. It makes a lot more sense than D20 systems. Really, is that kind of like Celsius versus Fahrenheit kind of logic? Allows for more nuance. And let's be real, it's all about the nuance. I love that Taylor's like, oh, is this like Tuxedo Mask from Sailor Moon? And I'm like, oh no, there's the tentacles. He is a monster. He's a plasmoid warlock specifically. His name is Jujubee, and he is a warlock whose patron is, unsurprisingly, a Jublex, which is pretty much a pile of slime monster. But it absolutely is giving Tuxedo Mask vibes. He's quite snazzy. Oh, and I despise this hat, so I'm very excited to remake this hat. Or that's a little bit harsh, because I used to be very proud of this hat, but I can do much better now. It's a stovepipe hat. Let's find a better reference, and let's go ahead and block that out. We're going to come in with a cylinder, but this has gnarly geometry by default. This is ugly. We do not like that. We go to initialize and then Q cylinder. Let's get some more resolution. There we go. I really wish that the initialize primitives here were the default when you append and insert, but it's not, so I digress. All right, so stovepipe hat honestly doesn't have a ton of nuance to it. It really does just sit on the head. And this one is so bendy and goofy, and I have this really like wavy stitch all over it because I just discovered what a stitch brush is. And I've been using the same dumb hat for way too long. That's why I'm being a little critical and laughing about it, because I'm like, the thing about an asset library is that you can't let it hold you back. You have to remake assets as your skill level jumps. Otherwise, your asset library is hurting your art, not helping it. But sometimes laziness prevails. The way that I've built up my business, though, is I'm never on like a super severe timeline, so I need to take more advantage of that and take my time, because it'll improve all of my art. See? Beautiful. Jokes, obviously. This needs a lot more refining. I do like a tall stovepipe hat, too. Mini Boy says, Mia, I've been playing with the gizmo, but I can't move around like you do. How do you move the gizmo around? Am I missing a step? That sounds like you need a fundamentals video to watch. I might keep giving you a hard time, because at this point, I'm baffled. You need to be a student. I want to teach you. But I will tell you anyway. Bring up Y, and then hold down Option, which I think is Alt on Windows. And then you can click and drag and move the gizmo around however you want to reposition it. If you want to move your object, then don't hold down Alt. You can click and drag, and that will move around your object. Taylor says, yeah, I assumed that was one of the alien demon monsters attacking him. Oh no, all part of him. Mini Blaze says, I like the book though. Thank you, me too. Hindsight says, but to your earlier question, 5e is a grit/grim dark where current MS Paint is to Procreate. Okay, I'm gonna read that again because I didn't understand it. 5e is to grim dark where current MS Paint is to Procreate. Okay, gotcha. So much, much simpler. I understand. Hindsight says, if you are really good or put a lot of work into it, you can produce something close to what you want, but you'll be fighting the system the whole time, which is no fun. No one wants to fight the system. They want fight the system. Anyway, you want to work with you as a tool. Mini Boy says, thanks. That was the issue I was having. My object keeps moving around. I was missing a step. No problem. All right, we're just about the end of closing here. We have buttoned up the suit, metaphorically, for my asset library, and then we've started to block out this hat. The brim is actually quite thin, at least in the reference I have here, and it has a really nice wave to it. And then Hindsight mentions to clip it for a short. Yeah, you guys are even more business savvy than I am. I love that. I'm getting better with social media. I'm sharing more. I'm really enjoying sharing the freebies every day. I'm doing the business. It's happening. All right, and we're gonna put a really small bend on this down and bring the sides of the hat up. So whether you're designing the face or anything that's going to sit on a head like a hat, it deserves special attention because it's extra sensitive. You can really get away with shirts fitting weird, all kinds of stuff, but if the hat is goofy, you're really going to notice. Making it a little more narrow on the sides. And again, I'm keeping it quite low poly. Lowering this. I don't know what the top of this hat is called. I know this is the brim of the hat. I don't know what the rest of it's called. Can't flare it out too much, otherwise it's going to get a little Western. Yeah, the first message that goes out at the same time. Streamlabs bot can't count. I will deal with that later. Okay. Hindsight says, let me rework that a bit. 5e characters are superheroes. They're only vulnerable before they come into their powers or when faced with disgustingly overwhelming odds. That's true. I do feel like, so I've only played 5e and it does feel a bit easy at times. So I think this hat needs to have a gentle taper here. There's two ways you can do that. You can grab your move brush and you can kind of just start smushing it around, or you can be more precise than that. Center your 3D gizmo by clicking this little location dot. Then bring up all the different operations by clicking on the gear and then taper. This little cone on top, click and drag downwards and you'll have a nice little taper. Though I forget it's going to bend the sides. I immediately don't like that. A better way to do it instead would probably be to flare the bottom and the top ever so slightly. There we go. It's very sensitive, as I mentioned earlier. And be careful with your hats. See, that's much too tapered on the front. Stop it. I had a plan, and I still goofed it up a little bit. That's okay, it happens. It's still looking much nicer than we had before, so I'll take that as a win. Hindsight says, it's hard to be gritty or grim when there's little to no existential threat. Or really just, yeah, threat at all. I get you. And most modern players like it that way. They get super attached to their characters, which can be good, but then don't want to face consequences of their actions. Yeah, I need gloom and doom. Like, I've had a lot of games I've played in the past where I don't have any fun until I've been just absolutely smashed a few times, and then I complain that the game is too hard, but then I keep playing it. If I think it's too easy, I will just stop playing. Which is a problem I was starting to run into with Monster Hunter Wilds, actually. I don't think the game is too easy. I think that I have been playing Monster Hunter more and more. So when I played Worlds, it seemed really tough for me because it was my first Monster Hunter game. So obviously I was terrible. But with Wilds, I find the way to kind of nerf myself is to force myself to try different weapons, and that's been pretty nice. Keeps things fresh. All right, I'm going to try something here I've never tried before, which is I'm thinking I'm going to add dynamic thickness to all these pieces at the same time. Pretty sure it's a terrible idea, but I haven't tried it before, so let's try it. I'm going to click on dynamic, offset to -100, and we'll kind of see how this looks. I see how this could work if I wasn't concerned about 3D printing, but the lapel here, for example, is clipping through itself almost immediately. So certain pieces will need to be split off for sure. Same with the collar, I don't want that to be very thick. All right, this I'll probably be able to do that trick with. Yes, I will keep that in mind for the future. All right, now that there's actual substance to this, let's see if I can add some details. Yeah, I'm not sure why this is clipping through itself almost instantly. That has to do with the way the polys are laying on themselves. Oh, is it already extruded? It is. I didn't notice that. Why did I do that? Bad Mia. That's a problem for future Mia. Let's add some buttons. Hey, Crescent's here. Hi, it's been a while. Hope you've been doing well. I have. Welcome back. All right, let's go ahead and get some buttons in here. Those could work, but I can find some nicer ones. There we are. I'm going to brush depth and lower that. So now I click and drag, it's going to be placed exactly where I want it to be. I think I want them to be closer. That makes more sense. Very good. Splitting these off so the buttons are their own subtool, and now adding a little bit of trim to each one of these shirts and undershirts. So to do that, I'll be doing Q mesh, or we'll actually do extrude a poly loop. I'm going to make these very, very slight. Otherwise, I think the suit will come across kind of bulky, and we don't want that. There we are. We have a little bit of funniness here where it overlaps, so to prevent that, I could construct it better, or I can just mask that point and then, bam, extrude that loop and not worry about it. Very good. I'm now going to turn off symmetry and tuck this vest. Is it going to grab the right thing? Yes, very good. So we're going to move it over itself by manually kind of click and dragging, just the way that you kind of like fold your jacket over. Excellent. Oh, also today is my 8th day streaming in a row. So very cool. We're on a 7-day streak, but I guess as of now that started, it's 8. Pretty cool. I don't really know if I plan to keep that going necessarily. It's just something fun that I noticed this morning. I definitely wouldn't want to burn out or push too hard, but I do find creating a little bit every day has been a really nice habit. It kind of propels itself. It's like, I don't know, just it's the power of a habit of doing something every day. Sometimes if I relax on the weekends too much, it's kind of hard to get back to work. I don't know if you guys ever feel like that. I guess it depends if you like your job or not. First and foremost. Alright, so to make sure these buttons are the same size, I can click and drag and then hold down Control, and it'll have a button size that's correlated to the size of the draw size, which you can adjust right here by holding spacebar. Very good. Little fine details coming together. Minnie says, I like being invested in the characters. Keep folks from being careless. I take issue with throwaway characters. Generate a character, do stupid things, which can harm the party, and have no consequences. That makes sense. I get you. Taylor says, imagine wearing a shirt that thick. It's like a solid block of wood. Yes, but you can't actually tell that. I can tell that the 3D printing construction tickles something in your brain that you do not like. You must have overlapping meshes you can then remesh later to prevent holes, or there'll be pockets of resin when it's 3D printed. There's a method to the madness, I promise. Or maybe this is just how thick shirts should be. And we're just doing it all wrong. It's just perpetually cozy. It's like wearing an entire comforter. It's one way to think about it. I'm going to come here with my ZModeler brush and add a creased edge. Perfect. And then move and backface mask to make this even thicker. Crazy, I know. And make sure this is nicely shaped. Even without any fabric folds, it's looking quite nice. I'm very happy with it. It is funny that I have buttons on both sides on this. Doesn't make sense, but I do like how it looks. Look, we've made a little bit of progress here. I definitely feel warmed up, and I think we are now ready for the Tavern Keeper's Craft, which today is a very odd model that I'm going to do my best with. I've reread the description for it about 1,000 times, so let's go ahead and look at that together. Alrighty, Today we are sculpting a request from Dire Squirrel. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. I'm really excited to bring this request to life. That being said, you kind of threw me a curveball here. It's very odd. Dire Squirrel says, I would like to request a Horta miner with a pickaxe and a comically large hard hat. And I pretty much responded with, I googled what a Horta is, Horta, and it is something from Star Trek. I'm like, is this what you mean? It looks like a blob. And they clarified that yes, Hortas are basically intelligent slugs that are made of crystals or lava rock, who lay perfectly spherical eggs that look like rocks. They're one of the few non-humanoid intelligent aliens in Star Trek. I have a game where my friend wants to run next year, so I want to do my PC. Ensign Ness, an astrogeology officer. And then they sent me a picture with a bunch of variants of Horta. And yes, this is what they look like. It's just a pile of material. I don't want to do that because at that point it's just a scattered terrain piece and I can do better than that. If it's going to my character catalog, it has to at least somewhat look like a thing. So I'm going to make it a little bit more on the slug side. So it's going to have this little face here. I have a hard hat, and then you guys have already put in some really nice references in our Discord. So this is what we're working with today. It's challenging, but I think we can do it. So the first step here is just sculpting a slug. So let's do it. All right, I have symmetry enabled, and then we are going to start dragging out the shapes here. I'm gonna make this smaller. This is going to be his little head, and then we'll duplicate in Dynamesh to start creating these little antennas. I guess these are like eye stalks. They're a little larger on the ends. There we go, mirror and weld. Gives me a lot of Dynamesh and pulling. All right, we've duplicated that again. We don't want to look too caterpillar-like, so there's a lot of subtleties to consider here because slugs are, you know, kind of shapeless. It's kind of like a big tube. That being said, we can make it cool. It's going to be a little wavy on the sides, and there is going to be like a delineation mark between the top and the bottom of it. So I'll make sure to come through with my standard brush and kind of strike out that line for us. He will have a neck of some sort. So let's go ahead and make that its own subtool just for easy posing and to kind of construct this with a little more intention. Also, I think giving it a visible neck of some sort will make it a little easier to understand what the heck is going on. I think it's gonna be a really cute, charming little dude. We're just gonna have to really trust the process here. He will have some little feelers on his face as well, as most garden snails do. Or garden slugs, I guess. All right, I'm using Trim Dynamic to kind of cut out some of the planes here and really show where that belly and chest connect. Got these little feelers right here. It has more of a taper, and there is a little mouth in here somewhere. As much as I wanted to make this kind of like a humanoid miner character that has slug-like features, they were pretty clear that what they liked about it is that it is a non-humanoid from Star Trek, so I want to try to keep that. All right, it's looking pretty sluggy. Not bad for our first, 2 minutes here. I'll start getting a little bit of color blocked in here. Also, we need to change our scene quite a bit. I'm gonna change the material first from basic material to skin shade. I want it to be a little bit brighter. We're also going to enable ambient occlusion. So render, preview AO, click on that. Preview shadows, we're gonna bump up the object shadows to about 0.5. And then we're going to adjust our lighting scene. I like to have one light off to this high left area and then flip the other one to the right and have it be a little on the warm side. All right, I think I'm gonna make this slug. What are the colors here? Because I'm gonna give it some crystal texture, so I'm trying to think what's gonna complement that best. Probably gonna make it a little on the icy side. So if I give it purple crystals, maybe I can make this more green. Yes, that can work. Coming through all my objects and kind of just throwing these colors on here, and then we'll come through on the top with drag rectangle and a darker green to give it a darker top. It's a really common color pattern you see in nature where the top is a bit darker than that underbelly. Okay. And then we're gonna add a base pretty early on here to start establishing the character because it's really odd. I do wanna add some of those weird spherical eggs to the base, and this will kind of place it in the world. I also make sure that I don't make the body too long and that it is nicely going to fit onto the base. Oh, Maverick. Alrighty. 100% agree. Thank you. Unless you're talking, oh yes, Mayblades. There's a difference between losing a character because of bad luck, bad rolls, or bad timing versus jumping to a river to see what happens. Yeah, I've definitely played with players like that more than I haven't, and it's not my favorite. All right, we have placed this little dude into the scene. He's looking a little caterpillar-esque, but not too much. Let's go ahead and flatten the bottom. A really quick way to do that with the gizmo is to bring it up with W, hold down Command, and then click and drag on this rectangle right here. Perfect. I'm going to duplicate this base, make it a touch smaller, and then Dynamesh so it's easy for me to manipulate. All right, this scene is going to be crystalline. So let's do kind of a lightish purple. And I'll merge these down. Just a funny little dude. It's making sense. All right, another thing I'm going to do is import some of my crystals to start building the space here. I have a crystal trio. It's been working out really well for me. Oh, I already have this nice crystalline base. I forgot about that. I used that for the two-headed gem dragonborn we made. There we go. So here's some pieces we can kind of use to build up that base. And then they mentioned they also have like this perfectly spherical eggs that look kind of like rocks. So those are going to be included on the base as well. All right. We're going to make a pile here. I'm looking at it from the top down, and then let's go to the second layer. There we go. Just to simplify how many moves I need to do with my gizmo. Excellent. And then a couple added around it for some variation. Kind of like caviar. There we go. All right, now I'm gonna start creating these crystals here. And these will be embedded into the base. In the beginning, I'm just going to use all three at the same time and kind of shape them around to the base. I can then use my Move Topological brush to refine it. It's important to not overthink it. Just get some stuff down. You'll find some ideas that you like. All right, it is coming together and looking like something. I'm going to add some rock rubble texture over the base. Or really any of these might be fun. I really find that I like, we do have some cool options here. Let's go with ground rocks. Yes. I'm gonna split the top off so that way I can adjust the resolution of the top part of the base. Right here, this. It's already a decently high resolution, which is perfect, so I'll enable backface mask and then throw on this really nice alpha I have. Since I'm doing that, I might as well add a little bit of poly paint. Excellent. All right, we're about 10 minutes into this or something, and it looks like something. Yay. Oh, I have some fun, ridiculous questions for this one because it's so goofy. So I have the first poll coming up right now. All right, the first question I have for you guys is, what is this alien slug's most valuable mining discovery? I might include it on the base, I might not. So it depends what you guys vote for. I have a rare glowing crystal, a mysterious ancient artifact, a pocket of ultra dense material, or a trapped but still living creature. Perhaps it's just a little hero, who knows? That first poll is up. Just kind of some fun like flavor text we can add to this really ridiculous character. The crystals would probably make the most sense, but we don't have to do that. All right, we have our first kind of progress point here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little stamp up here. Looks like something. I need some more references for the head of a slug. There we go. Right now I'm merging down some of these body parts so I can quickly shape them, because I don't want this getting too thick. Mini Blay says, oh, he could actually eat his way through the dirt and uncover minerals, ores, etc. That'd be cute. Oh, I need to start giving him some tools. How he's going to actually use these tools, I have no idea. He's an alien, he is sentient. There's weirder questions to answer here. Other than his lack of arms, but use of materials. Which means we need to create a hard hat for him. Kind of funny. Currently, you guys have a mysterious ancient artifact is in the lead or tied with a pocket of ultra dense material. Depending which one wins, I'm happy to add it to the base. I mean, I guess either one, but if the artifact wins, you guys need to tell me what it looks like. Give him some arms. No, that's too humanoid. All right. Let's go ahead and make this little hard hat. They specifically want to be comically large. Oh, and pickaxe. I think I might already have a pickaxe in my items. It might be terribly outdated though and time to make a new one. We'll see. Here is my asset library from all these goodies I made from all sorts of characters over the years. Let's see. Do you guys see a pickaxe or I'm blind? I don't see one. I have it somewhat grouped and organized. Like I have a wrench up here and little tools. I'm also looking at this to see if there's any little fun things we want to nestle onto the base. I don't think so. On to the next thing. It's very possible I put it under weapons for some reason, so let's double check. Because I do have some tools in here. I wonder if I can modify one of these to be a pickaxe. I don't have any pictures of pickaxes. Bummer. But I know you guys put that in the live stream references in our Discord. Yep. Helpful as always. Thank you, thank you. All right, I have that pickaxe pulled up as a reference, and it really is just kind of like this long spike. I can probably modify my scythe to make this pickaxe. Reaper's here. Hello, hello. Artifact needs to be shown. Absolutely, if that wins. Okay, it is winning so far. What is the artifact? Tell me what you guys think this ancient spooky artifact should be. Leave it to y'all to pick the hardest thing on there. Am I surprised? No. All right, the topology on this scythe, the blade is kind of the worst, but I think I can salvage it to make this pickaxe nice. All right, I have that piece. Let's go ahead and pend it. And then do I want to steal one of these sticks? I can be bothered to make a stick. But is there a nice stick here? No. All right, I've unified this to be in the center of the scene. Now we're gonna kind of clean this up to work for a pickaxe. Obviously it's a bit too long and one side's different than the other, so let me do some mirror and weld operations across the Z axis. There we go. So it's not quite functioning correctly because it's bent. So I'll just keep on unifying it in the scene and then mirroring it until I find a result that I like. It's fine. Good enough. And I'm going to use move, and I'm going to have symmetry turned on the front and the back of it. So in order to do that, I need to move it from X axis to the Z axis under my transform menu. And we'll just kind of turn my intensity off and just bend this. That's a good enough starting point. Let's move it over here and then mirror and weld across the X axis, not Z. Stop it. There we go. Let's go ahead and bring that together. Right now we're slowly piecing together a pickaxe. It's gonna need some work, but we're in the very early stages. There we go. Go ahead and duplicate this because there's kind of a collar where the metal pieces meet. Like that. Excellent. Rob's here. Hello, welcome. An icosahedron. What is ico for? How many sides is that? 20-sided. Oh, duh, it's a D20. I like it. I like it. That's really on the nose. I love that. Oh, kind of like Shadow Hearts from Baldur's Gate 3. I like that. An ancient poing. We're still building on the lore of the poing. All right, let's make this a bit more tan. There we go. It's looking pickaxey. I'm gonna have X and Z enabled at the same time to shape this more nicely. I really think I should just make this from scratch rather than reworking this. But here we are. What if I just Dynamesh this and sculpt it out? Could work. I love how this little slug looking up at this giant pickaxe just like in awe. There is no command for poing right now. I still don't even know what it's supposed to be. Y'all created this yesterday. That's the poing. Love it. All right, an ancient artifact has one. I am definitely going to add probably a D20, something of that nature to the pole because that is really cool. To the base because that's really cool. Since you guys are kind of have your creative ideas flowing here, Let's get another poll going. All right, guys, this is fun and flavor. I'm not sure how to incorporate this into the model, but it's too fun. How does the slug miner communicate with his coworkers? Vibrating its slimy body, telepathic ooze, or tiny high-pitched screaming? If you guys pick tiny high-pitched screaming, I will give it a funny little mouth, just as it has now, like a little O, just like, ah. Alrighty, let's keep on working on this pickaxe. I'm gonna go ahead and mirror and weld across the Z-axis again. Kind of a funny looking thing, but it's coming together. I decided not to model it from scratch, even though it's looking a little overworked, because I think it would look good if it was a little chipped and sculpted looking. All right, we're gonna inflate the ends of it a bit because I don't want to be too sharp and pointy because it's not gonna print very nicely. It's coming together. Personally, again, if I could vote in the polls, I can't because YouTube is lame. I'd pick the tiny high-pitched scream. So far in the lead is vibrating its slimy body. You know, if that wins, then I will probably make sure I come through on this little edge here and make it especially wavy. You see that? It's accurate to actual slimes, or slugs, but also it makes sense here. Maybe I'll even put some little tiny swirls in the ground around it to show that it's like vibrating the ground. All right, let's go ahead and detail this collar a bit here. Just a nice bevel, I think, would do the trick. So to do that, I'm gonna grab my Z modeler brush and delete some edge loops. You actually click Insert Edge Loops to delete edge loops. I know it's a little confusing. Hold down Alt and then it will delete them. Now when I come up to Bevel, which is under the same menu here, and click and drag, it will actually sink down a little farther. You'll notice that if I had that other edge loop there, it would give it like almost an imperceptible bevel because it wouldn't have as much room. There we go. Nice little simple bevel. Now we'll come down to this line right here and make sure it's creased so that way when I subdivide, we don't lose that nice bevel we just created. Perfect. There's the first one. And now I think it'd be nice if this wooden stick was made of wood. I also think it should have some tapers and some nuance to it. So let's go back and enable symmetry across the X and the Z axis. It should bulge a little bit at the top here. Where's my Z symmetry? There you go. I knew you weren't working. There we go. Kind of taper. I'm gonna smooth that a touch and add Dynamesh so I can start chipping the material. It bulges a little bit right here, comes a little more narrow. These are such small details, but I swear they really matter when you affect the silhouette. It looks just more interesting. Ricky says, it communicates by dancing like bees. So it just like wiggles its little butt. That's adorable. Where is the butt on a slug? I don't know. The screams would be the funniest. I agree. I think I want it to have its little mouth open screaming anyway. Let's be real. Today's model is ridiculous. Dire Squirrel, you really threw me for a loop here. But it's a fun one. I think really making the best of it. I predict that we're going to finish this entire model on stream because it's not super in-depth. It's just a little challenging. All right, to add a wood texture here, I like grabbing this scratchy alpha right here. And then just be careful with the way that you apply it with your brush. Coming back, doing it one more time with RGB enabled, so we have some natural shadows added as I kind of etch in this wood texture here. It's a little exaggerated, but what isn't with my art? Looking good. And now we're gonna decimate that down. Hindsight says, mainly, I just like the word undulation. Yeah, so if it vibrates, it just undulates the whole body. I like it. Hindsight says, what I actually think it would do would be somewhere between the vibrating and the dancing like bees, like Ricky said. The deliberate undulations of its weird gill fin things. Very nice. If he's a sci-fi character, he needs sci-fi clothes. No, no capes, no clothes. I'm already kind of pushing it by not making this just a literal amorphous lump, by giving it a slug head. So I want to make sure I don't deviate too far from the requester's ridiculous, wonderful request. We're going to come over to geometry and clay polish to kind of give it this chipped look. I like it. And then we're going to do the same thing for this collar right here. Perfect. I'm going to come in with trim dynamic and add a few chips. I like to mark out the chips with trim dynamic and then finalize them or make them look a little more intentional with H polish. How nice. Sometimes just H polish by itself works really well. Like, it's being pretty good for me right now. If you ever find H polish as being too much or too, sometimes it's kind of lumpy. You can kind of do like almost like a pilot hole with trim dynamic and then come through with H polish. Beautiful. Very nice. All right, we have a pickaxe. Let's merge this down. We can always adjust finer points later, but we have a good starting point here. I am gonna add a bit more color to make it a little darker in spots. You guys know how I am with my gradients. More gradients all the time. Excellent. Hindsight says, agreed, undulation is good, but pulling is pulling. Am I even pronouncing it the way you guys pronounce it in your head? I'm wondering if there's another dumb way to pronounce that. Drop your phonetic spelling in the chat. Gosh, today is a little more unhinged as usual for streams. We're talking about slugs and aliens, and it's very pulling. All right, I think it'd be nice if this pickaxe was kind of like laying on the crystals. It'll interact with the base a bit and make some sense. We're making sense of it, guys. How he uses this, we'll never know. Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to. Just kidding, I actually would quite like the answer to this. Sweet, we now have something else happening here. All right, it looks like you guys knew what you wanted. It's going to be vibrating, it's slime. Oh no, we're three-way tie. Just kidding. You guys want it to telepathically ooze to communicate to its coworkers, vibrating its slimy body, and tiny high-pitched screams. I wonder, like, who the coworkers would be. Like, are they humans? Are they just a bunch of other little slugs? All right, I need references of this little slug face. Oh, actually, duh, I put in a reference myself. Haha, just kidding. Alrighty, let's work on this little face here. Prepare to have your mind blown. I say mostly totally joking. I mean, who knows? Maybe this will turn out awesome. All right. We're gonna give it eyes. Because I think having an expression of some sort would be really fun. Gonna dig out some little eye holes here with the move brush. And then making the eyeballs smaller. We don't want it to look just like totally baby. Gosh, I really hope Dyer's World is happy with this. That patron that requested this and is like, I really just wanted like a pile of stuff. I'm like, that's just a terrain piece at that point, honey. That's okay. If they're not happy with it, they can request again. That's the beauty of being a patron. I've only ever had that happen once before, and it's not because they weren't happy with it. I just went really grim dark with the request, and they were like, okay, you went spookier than I expected. Can you do it again, but sweeter? And so I did do that request twice, and it worked out really well, and they ended up using both models I sculpted in their campaign, so I think it was a win for everyone. If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and vote in that poll. We're currently deadlocked in a 3-way tie. Or we were, last I looked. Oh yes, still deadlocked. Borg is here and asks, do you make fancy figurines from D&D, 40k, etc., or do you make like Transformers? I do not do stuff like Transformers or like mechs. The closest that I've done to that is actually this really awesome War Machine that I did, which was a Patreon request. So everything I make and what determines it is because someone asked for it on Patreon. Pretty cool. And most people that support me are tabletop fans. And every now and then, though, I get requests that really push me, and this one came out freaking awesome. So I guess I do make stuff like Transformers, kind of. But yeah, usually less on the mech side, just on fancy grimdark. Ella's here. Hello, welcome back. How he uses it? Magic. Stick. Voxel says, I'm something of a scientist myself. Very nice. And also, welcome back. Oh, his little face looks so worried. Except from the front. And from the front, he's just head empty. No thoughts. Because, oh, someone in our chat also put in a bunch of references of New Bronx, which are just like sea slugs. They look like little magical, otherworldly creatures. So I'll probably look at those and get those references going. Maybe add some more frills to this guy. I don't want to go too far off from the requester, because again, the requester, it's supposed to look like this. That's the model. That's a Horta from Star Trek. But that's not a model, that's not a character, that's Scattertrain. So we're going a little more character, but not too far. I want to keep the essence. Voxel says, he has that, quote, the children yearn for the mines look. What does that even mean? That is so eerie. That's giving Frostpunk vibes for sure. Oh god, he does look a little cursed. All right, we need to scoot in his head. Okay, not that far. Eyeballs need to stay in his head still. Very good. Very good. Mini Blaze says, no, this is a character. They move and everything. I agree. And they mentioned it's going to be their PC, so I want it to be character-y. I do want this underside to have an interesting texture. Like a bunch of little feet that move him around. Along with this interesting, sharp, undulating line. I can't stop using the word undulating now that hindsight's at it. That really is a fun word. No. Stop RGB. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, I'm starting to like it more. Starting to. This face I kind of gave it like a snoot, and I don't think it should have that. Hindsight says, something about how you said, a scientist myself. It makes you think of the guys that wear the FBI female body inspector shirts to the beach. Oh, absolutely. Because it feels, something about it just feels, it's satire. Alrighty. The tie has finally been broken by a tiny high-pitched scream. Beautiful, because I do think it'd be fun if he just had like a little little yell going on here. Oh, ZBrush didn't like it. That's fine. I will win. I don't care. All right. Unless you guys manage to tie the poll again, I'm going to put another vote in this because this has been really fun to kind of figure out all the nuance of this little character. I hope the requester Dire Scroll watches this later and maybe they'll get some ideas from this silly stream. All right, so our first poll was, what's this alien slug's most valuable mining discovery? And you guys picked a mysterious ancient artifact. I asked you to tell me more about that, and you pretty much asked for a D20. Kind of similar to what Shadowheart carries in Baldur's Gate 3. And then how does he communicate with his little coworkers? A tiny, high-pitched scream. Beautiful. Start a poll, and then Hindsight mentioned, oh yeah, it was a joke about Minecraft and child labor, which is perfect because my reference, like, it's very on brand with Frostpunk. Even without knowing the reference, I felt the vibes. All right, what's the biggest workplace hazard for this alien slug miner? Carnivorous cave worms, toxic gas pockets, cave-ins from unstable tunnels, or rival miners sabotaging the dig. I'm specifically going to say rival slugs because a bunch of slugs fighting just sounds hilarious to me. So the way that we would incorporate like his main threat would probably be the way that we design him to be more resilient. So let's say, for example, if it was carnivorous cave worms, I'm probably going to cover the back of him in crystal to make him a little more resilient and cover all the squishy bits. Hindsight, tragic backstory. He comes from a long line of traumatic intergalactic miners, but lost his parents while they broke through a wall in the salt mine. The salt mine. That's so stupid. Beautiful, beautiful. He does look sad. His face does not look slug. I am not getting the slug essence, guys. He looks like a lumpy caterpillar. You know what that means? Smooth everything away. Fix. We're going back to the primary shapes here, including no eyeball. Because I'm just not feeling slug from this head. All right. This is getting serious. Oh, it's a new subscriber. Jose. Hello. Welcome. I very rarely ever catch new subscribers that pop up on my screen, so you're very special. It's probably the first time I've caught that in like a month. I don't watch my own stream, but occasionally I check the framing, and it happened to line up. Meant to be. Alrighty, let's get this slug face looking sluggy. I also think it's incredible that someone like this is the first stream you've watched of mine, and this is the one you subscribed to. Beautiful. I'm glad that you're trusting the process. Alright. It's time to get slug face. Thank you, Google. Oh, that's very helpful, actually. Okay. Oh, we're learning a lot here. All right, all right. I'm going to bring back these little stalks. They are more essential to the face than I realized. And the taper here is also very important. All right, guys, we're doing the art. It's happening. Ah, I did not have any of the Splendid. Also, these kind of sit on their face more like mandibles. And I also think the rotation needs to be the other way. Just another day in the office, you know. Yeah, this is definitely a character that designing it from the front was the way to go. I usually go for the side silhouette because the front just looks like a blob on most things. But in this case, this is quite helpful. I'm gonna come with my clay brush and kind of get these tapers going. I don't know what I did to click that, but that was nice. Very good. And then he has a little bit too much of a chin. I'm gonna make his face small and bring his little body up. Oh my god, this is so silly, y'all. Just Lingual says, also welcome back. Greatest danger? Probably loneliness. The mining grind set can be isolating at times. Yeah, how would he handle with crippling loneliness? He's a slug. What does he do to unwind? Definitely a missed opportunity on this stream. I should have just come like loaded with a bunch of slug fun facts. I underestimate your guys' creativity for lore building. All right, that's looking like a thing. This is more round. No, it's a snail. Okay. This side. There's really like two sections here. Also, this is way too wide from the front. Scooch in, just like that. And then tiny little screaming mouth, as previously discussed. Wendelia is here, welcome back. Anti-loneliness armor is just teddy bears duct taped to him. That's really precious. Oh yeah, don't get a Loa start on teddy bears. You're gonna like summon a Loa. All right, so you guys all love the idea of rival slugs that are sabotaging the dig. Not what I expected the vote to be. That is really funny. How do they... All right, you guys have to elaborate on this. You picked it. Because I didn't have any plans for how I would incorporate that answer into the model. So tell me, how exactly do these rival slugs fight each other? And how would that be, like, represented on his, physical traits? All right, this is where subtools can be really important because I'm going to use this crease here to better define like how these stalks flow into each other. Have a reference I'm starting to follow. And it's going to make sense. This is a really fun shape to figure out because it's more challenging than you'd expect. It's very, very simple on the tapers, but there is a beauty to the curve of this little slug face, so I'm gonna do my best to capture that. I've drawn them before and it was not that hard, funny enough, but sculpting it and getting this 3D taper is more challenging than I expected. It has to have this like stretched look to it. I'm starting to figure it out though. I appreciate you guys developing the lore though. My goodness, this is one for the books. Remember yesterday's stream? I was like, oh yeah, today's stream's a little different, but tomorrow we're back to normal. And then I'm like, just kidding, it's a cave miner that's a slug. If you're new here, hi, my name is Mia. I sculpt 3D printable D&D minis for a living. I do terrain, monsters, sea slugs that are miners, all that good stuff. Everything I make is a request on Patreon. So if you want to make a request, that is the place to go. Links in the description. But usually we do make humanoids, like cat folk, paladins, humans, elves, that kind of stuff. More classic fantasy. This is definitely more on sci-fi alien nonsense, but it's really fun and really goofy. So instead of having the volume on the face, I'm having it come from the stalks. I find that seam is a little easier to control and more clear. So that's why I'm doing a little bit of redesigning here. The next thing that I'm missing is striking out how far this neck actually stretches from the rest of it. There is quite a little bit of a chin to them, which is funny. I didn't expect that. Because you think of slug, you're like, oh, it's a blob. And this is why you have references, because you realize you don't know what anything looks like. And then there are quite a few wrinkles and lines that kind of bring it together. I had eyeballs initially. I think it's going to make him look too baby. So we're not going to do that. He does have a substantial little chin though. There we go. That's looking much more alien and hitting the prompt a bit better here. Just Lingual says, it's a pulling life out there, especially for buying slugs. It sure is. The more we use the word, the more I don't know what it means, which is very fun. Ella says, they're artificer slugs. They use telekinesis to lob magical shrapnel bombs full of salt. Oh my god, that is like, that's gnarly. Mean slugs. I was hoping these were just like casual mining disputes, that they're not out for blood. Ricky says, the biggest danger has got to be the mucus mafia. Nobody messes with the Goo Crew. Goo Crew. Oh, my husband coming in with lore bits of wisdom. Beautiful. Beautiful. Man, you guys are just like on fire today with this nonsense. I mean, lore building. Wendelia says, a World War I German helmet with a spike on top, and then they poke each other with it. That's beautiful. Oh, we do need to give him a hard hat. I need to not forget. I like it. Beautiful. Hindsight says, Mia, building on Ella's point, he should have a sci-fi backpack harness thing that allows him to use tools. I love that idea. I do. I'm toying with it. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's just I really should just message this person before I started on the request, but I didn't. To figure out if they're okay with me making this more literal on the slug side. But I already mentioned, even if they're like, hey, I really just wanted a blob, I can be like, okay, no problem. That is scatter terrain. I will still do that. But I will think of it as scatter terrain, not a player character. He is going to have a crystalline texture throughout, so can't forget about that. And we need to build this hard hat too. So, before I forget, let's start doing that. Yeah, I like the spiked hard hat idea. So do I, and they want it to be comically large. So putting a spike on it that's maybe like chipped from a crystal would be even better. So like he made it himself. Just a funny little guy. It's a hard life out there. All right, helmets are kind of the bane of my existence. How am I gonna make this? Making a hard hat. I know how to do that. We're gonna go simple, because simple is good. Step 1, sphere. Step 2, a cylinder. Squish the cylinder. Does it look more like a hard hat than it did a second ago? It did. Good job, me. Knife rectangle. Cut that. Nope. Cut it all the way like here. We're building a hard hat right now. Sapphire is here. Hello, welcome back. Would his antenna go through the hard hat or under? That's a very good question. Peasants, discuss. Oh, and also, I have a new freebie for you guys today on my Patreon. It's a Mushroom Queen. I'm really excited about it to share it with you guys for free because she's awesome. So if you're not already a patron, or if you are a patron, like, be reminded of this awesome model. It's linked in the chat right now. All right, we are building this hard hat still. It has a brim on it, so let's create that. Using my knife brush to kind of cut these shapes down. All right, very, very, very simple shape here. Now we begin to refine. Step 1, I don't like how many edge loops there are here, so let's get rid of them. Confusingly, to get rid of edge loops, you make sure you hover over with your Z modeler brush and click on Insert Single Edge Loop, and then you hold down Option, and that will delete them. I'm not doing a specific rhyme or reason to which edge loops I'm getting rid of. I just want there to be less. Very good. Same thing for this one. I could have initialized this just with less resolution, but I didn't. So we're doing this instead. Stop. Perfect. Just Lingual says to SoFire, answering the question, did the antenna go through the hard helmet or under? Just Lingual says, maybe one stalk goes through and it's asymmetrical. You guys know I do love me some asymmetrical details. Robert said, I've used the Mushroom Queen in my personal campaign already. She has an identity and everything. I love that so much. Oh, that makes me very happy. Yay. Just Lingual says, a Mushroom Druid was the first model I ever made, and it got me my first engineering job. No kidding. Mushroom Queen for the win. Love and the love of the Mushroom Queen. If you have not already used her or seen her, again, that's linked in our chat right now where it says, a generous gift from M3M Tavern. I do a new freebie every single day. Also, if you like the post, every 50 likes on the post, there's another freebie. Same goes for followers. So yes, you get rewarded for interacting. I'm doing the business, guys. Business is businessing. All right, so for this, I'm gonna make sure that I have my X symmetry turned on, so when I move this side, it also moves the other side. And that actually is kind of the curve that it needs to do. It is gonna move upwards. This is going to be kind of fanned down and a lot smaller. So let's go ahead and do that. And then it's a bit scooped. I'm being very careful with these adjustments here. Yes, all hail Mia, the Mushroom Queen. You know, if that was going to be a mini, I wouldn't mind being that Mushroom Queen. She's pretty awesome. Hindsight, he lost his other eye stalk to the Great Salt Incident of 3046. Fun fact, my husband and I salt poisoned ourselves last year on a ton of popcorn. Super stupid, embarrassing. Like, dead ass gave ourselves salt poisoning. It was terrible. Never been so sick in my life, like 5 days. It was awful. Essentially, it was like we each had our own bag of popcorn, and then we went a little heavy-handed with like the butter and salt and like the seasoning stuff. And then we'd also had like pizza earlier that day. Yeah, don't salt poison yourselves. Wow, we're talking about all kinds of things I couldn't have possibly predicted. Just another day on the job. Yeah, Ella said, what? How? Yeah, it's embarrassing. Popcorn. I really wish there was a better reason to that. I'm not going to describe just how sick and what kind of sick. Google it. It was bad. Anyway, not going to talk about, I swear I'm a good cook too. Just maybe indulge a little too much on the finer things, which is popcorn. I have like not eaten popcorn since, fun fact. Hindsight says, Ricky, don't tell them. I know, sorry, it's too late. Ricky prepared the popcorn, by the way. Hindsight says, was it like SpongeBob when he goes to Sammy's house for the first time? Yes. Water. Yes, 100%. I could not drink enough water. It was like dying. You had popcorn with your salt, not salt with your popcorn. Yes. Again, it was so ridiculous. And it's like, how did you know you had salt poisoning? It was obvious. Let's put it that way. What is being salt poisoned like? It's like being like the worst flu of your life, pretty much. You can't keep anything in you from either end. That's all I'm going to say. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Empress Tiramisu is back. Hi, welcome. For some reason, the carnivorous cave worms read to me as carnivorous cave plants. I need more coffee. How have I not sculpted carnivorous cave plants, though? That is not available in the vault on Patreon, and it should be. Putting that away. Ricky was feeling salty that day. He was, and he poisoned his bald. Beautiful. Ella says, although I've eaten a lot of movie theater popcorn before, I woke up at like 2 a.m. that night with a very bad tummy ache. Exactly, but like for 4 days. All right, we're not talking about the fact that I poisoned myself like an absolute nimking poop. Talk about something else. Google says it can cause a coma. I believe it. We slept like 16 hours a day. All right, I need to stop talking about this. No. I'm going to put in a new poll to distract you guys. All right, we're going to talk. This next poll question is still about eating snacks. Oh my God. From Popcorn Mayhem. All right. Speaking of popcorn and salt poisoning, what is this slug's favorite post-mining snack? Salty popcorn is the first option. Crunchy mineral flakes. Energy pack biogel cubes. Or the occasional unsuspecting bug. Let me know what you guys think. Just Lingual says, are dangerous plants characters or terrain? Piranha plants feel like both. For dangerous plants, I would put them in terrain, but that's a good question. I might also put them in my bestiary under plant. I'd put them in both. All right. I was living that 8-year-old birthday life. I was. Excellent. Double checking some stuff. All looking good. All right, we are about halfway through the Tavern Keeper's craft here. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is a delight. I wasn't sure about today's stream, but I'm like, you know what? My people are fun. It's going to be fun. And sure enough, you guys are being fun as heck. Also, this base in the model is coming out kind of lovely, isn't it? All right, we're going to narrow up this hard hat just a touch and then get the shape a little more accurate. It kind of bows on top a bit more. There we are. A little more like that. I hear Discord notifications, but there's no Discord notification showing up. Where in the world are these coming from? Which one of you is DMing me? And for Tiramisu says, I'm going to vanish for a bit. And maybe get some water and a snack or some coffee. This is so much better. Beautiful, beautiful. Ella asks about a fur ball she's sculpting. Should I give her mutton chops or turn into a little chin strap beard? Do fur balls have facial hair? I mean, I feel like I have to say mutton chops with mushrooms in it. Hindsight says, Mia, it's been doing that to me too about Discord. It's driving me nuts. Yeah, where are these bedings coming from? Like, you have my attention. Also, you guys all voted for salty popcorn in the poll. Beautiful. I'm glad we're on the same page. Oh, it is tied with an unsuspecting bug. Some people are still on theme. Very good. All right. Let's keep building this hard hat. Where is that coming from? I'm muting my computer. Bam. All right, I don't like this mushroom top effect it has. It needs to taper outwards at the very least. So we're going to center it, go to taper under my 3D gizmo, and doop, flat. And then I can scoot it in. That did not do what I wanted it to. What if I go to my ZBrush and extrude polyloop? Haha. More layers. That also works. And it is crazy windy outside. How? The house is screaming. It's looking more like a cute duck. Getting a little too duck vibe. It's fine. All right, and then another loop over the top to deflect falling debris and to wedge in crystals. Oh, extrude polyloop, you are not working. Fine, polygroup island. There. Ella said, dude, we're supposed to get tornadoes in Washington this week. Wouldn't they just like immediately break up in the trees? I mean, I guess tornadoes can fell trees. That is odd. All right, and then these do have a handy dandy little strap where they sit on your head or on the back. So I'm going to add that as well. I'm just going to take a ring and then ZBrush it on half quite a few times. Keep in mind whenever you ZBrush, it removes your poly paint. There we go. And then maybe we'll add some buckles for good measure. Excellent. All right, this is looking pretty good. Looks like the poll is pretty much on the same page. We got the salty popcorn, unhinged vote, and then we actually have the more reasonable where they're eating bugs. I like it. Maybe I'll put the smallest little bit of popcorn on this base hidden somewhere. Not enough to actually be part of the model in any way, but just enough for those that are looking for it. We'll know it's there. All right, this needs to have a bevel. I think that would make it look a little nicer. Yep, made it look way nicer. What do you know? I wish you could bevel through an edge loop. Yeah. Sweet, it's looking very hard hat. We can do some more fine tuning later, but as of now, I think I've spent enough time on it. Oh, that's really cute, actually. They specifically wanted it to be oversized. Cannot see where he's going. Oh, cute. All that time I spent making his slug face look sluggy is pointless because I just put a giant hard hat on it. I knew this was gonna happen. Could not stop myself. Oh guys, he's so cute. This is growing on me so much, this little dumb design. Does this not make you want to play as a little slug miner in your next campaign? You probably never thought about it before today, but now you're thinking about it. Hide popcorn in his hat. Beautiful. What about a plant that looks like popcorn? I like that. Empress Tiramisu says, do you enjoy hard surface? I'm starting to. I really am. I know I reference this nonstop, but it's because it was a big freaking deal. I made a car, and it printed amazing too. And I had many crises while designing it, but I learned some new techniques, and a lot of people in the live stream right now supported me through it. And now I can make hard surface stuff. It's freaking cool as heck. So yeah, I'm starting to enjoy it a lot more. All right, we're moving on to the next poll. He's eating popcorn and hurting himself. Beautiful. Does that mean just a drug? Is that like meth for him? Or I can't say that on stream. Okay, what's the best tool for an alien slug miner? We gave him a pickaxe, but I feel like that'd be difficult for him to use. So what about a high-powered plasma drill or acidic slime that melts rock? I want to say that comes from him somewhere. A cybernetic exosuit with drill arms. I know you guys are going to want that. No, I'm not going to make that. That's like a totally different character. If you ask really, 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 really nicely, no, someone has to pay me for that. I'm not doing that one for free. A team of smaller slugs that work for it. Let me know. That poll is live right now. Empress says, it's so cute. I would salt it. But it's so cute. I mean, it's already screaming anyway, so. All right, it is supposed to have texture and crystals in it. So let's go ahead and start crystallifying it. I'm gonna grab this group right here because I think it has a nice variation already. And we'll start wedging these into our cute little dude. I could have said that more gracefully. No worry. Wendeller says, Mia, if I wanted to make a request using my Patreon benefit that required a photo reference, what is the best way to include / deliver that image? You can either send it to me on Discord or you can email it to m3dmprints@gmail.com. Best is probably just Discord. Taylor says, will you have ooze dripping from his stomach? Maybe. I think he probably should. And the Just Lingual says, acidic slime is funny to me because I imagine him butting his head against the rock, figuratively and literally, when there's an especially hard dig. That's precious. I love that. Hindsight, well, if you're going to be lame about it, acidic slime. He melts the rock, slurps up the slurry, and then shits out ore. He's not a miner, but a mini refinery. That's cute. He's like a whole little plant all on his own. Or maybe he melts the ore and it becomes like a fancy drink, kind of like Slurm from Futurama, but not as disgusting. I've been watching a lot of Futurama, y'all. Futurama is on the brain. All right, we're starting to put all these crystals in here. And again, these are all separate subtools, so it's our subtools, polygroups, so it's really easy for me to move them around later. Because they're a hard surface, it's just really important that you, if you are going to move them around, either mask the entire piece so you don't smush it, otherwise it won't look hard surface, or you can just have your move brush with your focal shift kind of around 0 and then your Z intensity up to like 100. And then that'll work pretty much the same way as masking it individually. All right, so right now I'm kind of blanketing it with like the same texture all the way through, which is a little hard to read, but never fear, I have a plan. I'm gonna start wedging in the ones that are up front farther down. So there's gonna be like a nice gradient of crystals as it makes its way farther back. Spikier towards the butt. So again, I have my Z intensity to 100, or honestly, I'll do like 90 because I find when your intensity is 1 or 100, same with your draw size, it kind of makes ZBrush have a meltdown. Not always, but enough where I'm not going to mess with it. We're not here to invoke the wrath of ZBrush. We're having a good day. Look at our spiky little dude. Looking cute. There we go, kind of getting that little gradient here of spikes. Some of them are a bit lumpier. I don't like them as much, so I'm gonna delete those and keep it spikier to look more crystal-like. And then we will change the texture on the skin. I do like the lines, but we're gonna build on top of that a little more to make him look even more hard surface. Looking pretty cool. All right, let's poly paint these. I'm gonna turn on color spray and then pick a slightly lighter purple. Oops, and then kind of scribble over the top of these. Isn't that nice? I'll go even lighter and then be kind of careful with it. And get more of like a prismatic look to these. Then we'll do the same thing on top of his spine. Is it a spine? Just his little back. And we're gonna be layering this with darker colors as we get closer to the center, all using color spray. The green is really gonna be like this strip in the center. It's really gonna be purple and white for the most part. The green was just for people that were tuning into the stream. They could see quickly that this is a slug. There we go, he's looking kind of ethereal and adorable. Empress says, oh my, a nice cold can of Slurm would hit right now. A fellow Futurama lover. Wonderful. Tiramisu continues, the fact that you make this look so effortless has me jealous, lol. Meanwhile, I'm over here having fist fights with Blender. May I interest you in ZBrush? It is expensive, but it is awesome. If you just have money to spare on hobbies, get ZBrush. It's so awesome. It's so much fun to play with. He needs a light on the helmet. Maybe. He needs spikes. I forgot about spikes. Taylor says, oh wow, that purple back adds so much. Doesn't it? Gotta just keep building with your colors. Ella says, I love Futurama. Fry is my most beloved idiot with a heart of gold. Definitely a Gryffindor. Or Hufflepuff. I'm not sure. I get those ones kind of mixed up. Taylor says, he has a very elegant, fun design. Like a Pokemon. Thank you. I'm a huge Pokemon fan, so I really appreciate that. I do think he needs a contrast from the base a touch more. So let's see if I can get kind of a dark glow underneath him. Not a dark glow, a shadow. It's at that point of the stream, guys. Brain is slowing down. Look how far we come from this stamp over here, though. Like, it's looking like a real thing. Minnie Blaze says, miners use light helmets. Yes, but this miner is a slug and has no eyeballs. So. Taylor, he absolutely requires a light on his helmet. Y'all, he doesn't have eyes. Who is he lighting the way for? Does none of this character make sense? I guess. Okay, he doesn't have arms, but he has a pickaxe. But this is where I draw the line. Someone has to draw the line somewhere. Taylor says, I feel like it'd be missing without it. Oh, good point. Right? What if instead of like a normal light, it was like a heat gun, you know? So it's putting off light, but more importantly, it's putting off heat. So he can like feel the heat bouncing back off rocks as they get closer to him. So it's kind of like lighting the way, but more of like an infrared sort of thing. Wendelier, not me quickly Googling, do slugs have eyes? Do they? Report back, please. Empress Tiramisu, do you think these miners would be good in the salad? Username checks out. Very food oriented. Soapfire, a little firefly friend to tell him where to go. Lights are good to tell when gas explosions are coming, like canaries. I like that idea. Or is this more of a soup kind of slug? Neither. Gross. Taylor, or instead of a light or a heat gun, it's a drill. That'd be pretty freaking cool. This is true. Wendelier, they do indeed have eyes. Shit, nope. Really? Oh my god. I should know, because are they on top of the eye stalks, or are they like here? We are learning new things together. I love it. All right, we're gonna add some more texture to his back here. It's gonna be a bit of a rockier texture, and I have some really lovely brushes to help me accomplish exactly that. Do I remember what these brushes are called? No, but that's fine. I will click until I remember. Excellent. because he's supposed to be a bit on the rocky side. They are on top of the eye stalks. No kidding. Can you imagine being able to take your eyes and just like look at stuff? It's a wild life out there. I had this really cool rock brush and it's in here and I use it all the time, but I never remember what it's called. And I always tell myself, next time I use this brush, I'm going to rename it Use, so I know which one to use. Here I am, not remembering. All right, this one's actually pretty nice. I use the same one for the base. Something's kind of blend in with the crystals. It's really so when you dry brush this and it's painted, it obviously has more of a hard surface on its back. You know, to defend itself from the Slug Mafia. What the hell my husband calls it? The goo crew. Sometimes I forget that my husband's just as big of a dork as I am. It's like he literally is part of like the other side of the business. He has to be a dork. I'm like, I know, but it just surprises me still. Rob said, it'd be great to have something of an OSL, so object source lighting. Well, we are thinking about adding that D20. So we could make that artifact look like it's supposed to glow. I almost forgot about that. I don't want to model a D20. Come on, free base mesh. It's a really cool website. I'm going to put it in the chat right now for all my fellow 3D artists. Dude, this place is really cool. I run in here all the time and grab little doodads. I bet they'll have a D20. Heck yeah, they do. Very good. So yes, I have downloaded that file from that website. It's called D20. Inside of it is an FBX, GLB, and OBJ. It's pretty much the same thing 3 times. For ZBrush, I just use the OBJ, though I could also use the FBX. All right, duplicate one of your subtools, go to Tool, Import, and then just double click on the OBJ, and now you'll have a D20 in your scene, or whatever you grab from that website. Bam. Hey, the topology is actually pretty good. The topology is a little hit or miss with that website, honestly, but it's free, so you will not see me complaining. All right, this is gonna serve as that object source lighting challenge for my especially talented painters. Extrude, polyloop. I should be able to do some cool stuff here of overlapping geometry. There we go. It's gonna look very artifacty by the time that I'm done. There we go. Artifacty stuff happening. All right, that's looking pretty cool. And then I can put like a rune in it somewhere. This is his most prized possession. Is it just literally D20? Yes. All right, how do I make this glow? I don't know. Let's make it a dark color first, and then I'll come through with backface mask and we'll slowly brighten the colors as we go. I feel like that will make it look like it's glowing. Yeah. And then on the base, a little glowy effect. That, let's get a little paler. There we go. Haha. Ask and you shall receive. Beautiful. Alrighty. What else are we doing here? I think that was my last pull for you guys, and we're almost done here at the Tavern Keeper's Craft. We have a 3-way tie going in the pull right now. y'all surprisingly did not just vote for a team of smaller slugs to be the best tool. I'm honestly surprised. So the main ingredients that were important for this is that's supposed to have a hard hat, a pickaxe, it's a slug alien, and it's covered in crystals. And I think we're doing a pretty darn good job on all fronts. We don't have enough of these crystals kind of poking their way up towards the front. So let's go ahead and do just that. We're at the end of this segment here, so I'm starting to get a little more focused. Add some more volume, some more texture. Just make sure this whole thing really pops in all of his sluggy wonder. I love his little mouth under there. It's like really subtle, so if you don't look for it, you probably won't even see it. But we know he's there, screaming away. Brings me joy. We're gonna crease the hat, add some subdivision levels to it. Very nice. And then I forgot that I wanted to add some spiky crystals on it. We want some spikes anyway, and then I just love the idea that either they're starting to grow on here naturally or he put them on here to help with his mining efforts. Hard to say. But either way, he's got little crystals on his hat now, and they're here to stay. Precious. Pretty happy with all of this. This little strap in the back is a little too thick. Let's go ahead and thin that up. Perfect. And I would like for the transition from this head and the body to be a little more seamless. So we're gonna come in and merge these two subtools down and then use clay to build up that seam into nothing. Perfect. Same thing goes for this section of the body, but I'll probably wait to do that until later on. Kind of like a mohawk biking helmet, a little bit. RB Gaming is here. Hello, welcome back. Snail time. It is nice. Isn't it an odd one? I'm pretty happy with it though. It's supposed to be a Horta from, or similar to, from Star Trek. Obviously, I've made it much more literal on the slime slug side. But he's got charm. He's just a little dude. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm actually really proud of this. All All right. I'll screenshot a little progress point here. Cute. You guys have been so much fun during this. Thank you. Thank you. Just Lingual says, this is coming together poignantly. Yes, very poignant. Indeed. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and save this funny little dude. Maybe adjust my light scene a bit to really make him pop. There we go. Excellent. I'll probably do a new screenshot actually, just because that looks so nice now. I've heard about these little adjustments. They really make a big difference. God, he's just so goofy. He's a bit sluggish. Yes, perhaps. Wonder how long it takes him to move down a tunnel. I wonder. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. I don't think I'm going to make a whole lot of other characters quite like this. This is something else. You know what I think this might actually see a lot of use as? I can really see people making this their familiar. Yeah, I think he's going to be more of a hit than I think. Taylor says, do you plan to create a variant? If so, maybe a snail shell on his back, which would be a semi-mechanical where it has other kind of mining equipment attached. That would be a fantastic variant. I love that idea. Who knows, maybe I'll be the next up-and-coming snail artist, slug artist. What are these called? What are these? Like, you know, like these mollusks or other subspecies. What is a slug? Yeah, it's a mollusk. It's a shellless terrestrial gastropod mollusk. Beautiful. The fact that specified terrestrial, oh my god, I can't say that word. I can spell it, can't say it. Implies that it wouldn't be on Earth. Beautiful. Gastropod. Beautiful. Just like we'll mention, yes, the snail shell would have the exosuit from earlier. Agreed. Well, I think we nailed it. Definitely not. You know, it's one of those models where it's difficult because the devil's in the details. You know, it's really easy for it to just look silly as opposed to like, even though it's a cute, charming model, like take it seriously and put your best into it. I did, and I think it really turned out nice because of it. Now, let's make sure we save this little cutie. He's a slug miner. Simple as that. Amazing. Ah, aquatic versus terrestrial. Just gonna mumble it. All right, we're creeping up to almost 20 people hanging out here. Thank you guys for being here. Really having a good time. All right. Getting close to the end of my Tavern Keeper's Craft, which is the main meat and potatoes. For happy hour, I haven't picked what I'm gonna do yet. I usually pick a model we've previously worked on in the last week or so and just get it a little closer to being finished. It's been pretty nice. I might, you know, today is my 8th day live streaming in a row, which is awesome, and I'm feeling really good about that. But at the same time, the girl's tired. I think I'm going to skip happy hour. We're going to go straight into last call, do a little review of the stream, and then I'll come back tomorrow. Give myself a little bit of a break today, and then more 3D modeling content goodness will resume. How's that sound? Oh, my face is big. Hello. There we go. All right, y'all. Let's do a little recap here. First of all, if you don't know who I am, my name is Mia of M3DM. I make 3D printable models for a living. I've been doing this for 6 years. If you're interested in making your own requests, I do that all on Patreon. Bam. So I actually have a new tier on Patreon that's only $3. So it's never been cheaper to kind of start your adventure and get M3M minis every single week. If $3 still feels like too much and you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, I'm super confident you are gonna like it. I have a 7-day free trial even, so there's literally nothing to lose. Check that out if you haven't already. Most of y'all are already patrons. I see you, I appreciate you. Keep being awesome. If you're a legendary patron already, don't forget to get your request in the month. There's 5-6 days left. Get your request in. Alrighty, let me go to the beginning here. We worked on that Plasmoid Warlock, kind of doing a little recap of the stream here as well. We made his suit a little bit fancier and began to create a stovepipe hat that's actually well constructed instead of a 6-year-old asset from me. Good job, me. He's just about ready to go in for posing. He needs a little bit of more detail work on his vest. That's about it. But yeah, we did that, and then a Slug Miner. That's kind of the recap for the day. Pretty simple. Hindsight says, how very non-America of you. Which is true. I mean, you guys all know this, but like, it's a very American mindset to like, instead of like you work to live, Americans live to work, it seems like. Everything's a side hustle. Everything is grind, 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 push, push, push. And like, I get that you need to work hard, but also, don't burn out, you know? Hindsight mentions, in other words, do eat. Take some time. I appreciate how you spelled eat. That is how I feel about the word eat. Yeah, Ricky mentions, no, Mia, work, work, work. Never stop. Go, go, go. Ricky, of all people, he's my husband, is huge on me taking breaks and being good to myself. And today is one of those days. I know it's only Tuesday, but I don't know. It feels like that kind of day. If you're watching this stream and you need a break, and you need permission to take a break, here's permission from a stranger on the internet. Go treat yourself. Do something nice today. Just kidding. Do you want chili or your quesadilla? Ooh. Can you heat up my quesadilla? Yes. I got a steak quesadilla last night. I didn't eat all of it because it was as big as my face. So, that'd be great. Quesadilla, please. Yeah, here's this Plasmoid Warlock. And then, of course, the adorable Slug Miner we worked on today. Some other things we've worked on recently, because today was a shorter stream at 2 hours. We have Odin, who is going into the shop to be posed. He's looking quite handsome, if I do say so myself. And he will have his lovely ravens, Hunin and Moonin. If you guys have been watching the streams, you'll notice I take every excuse possible to say those names because they're funny. Even if I'm saying them wrong, I don't care. They rhyme. Hunin and Moonin, which means thought and memory. I think in that order. Some other things we have cooking is this loot that I refuse to finish. And our Imperial Human Sorcerer that we worked on yesterday for Kyle. This is kind of the staff we kind of blocked out here. And then this is the actual full-blown character. He's looking very handsome. This piece also had a lot of construction and it came out really, really clean. Pretty happy with this guy too. Hugin and Moonin. Oh, there's a G in it. I feel like it rhymes less. Very good. Hindsight says, you have hobbies? Do they generate money? You're not using them to hustle? Ew. Yeah, very American. Yeah. So many times, like, when I've had new students join my mentorship program, I've had to I straight up will ask them, like, do you even like art? Or are you just trying to make money? Like, I have this happens very rarely, but about once a year, I'll get a student that immediately is like, doesn't know anything. And I mean this, like, has never 3D modeled open ZBrush before. And they're already asking me how to sell their work. And I'm like, honey, there's no art to sell. Since when is art a get-rich-quick scheme? I must have missed the memo. Hindsight says, I stand corrected. Hugin and Moonin. That still rhymes very nicely. Yes. Preach. Yep. Do things you like, and hot take, be bad at them. Oh my god, being bad at your hobbies is so underrated. Seriously, just do stuff. And if you're not good at it, that's even more charming, more interesting. And like, it's kind of like a reverse psychology moment. You will get way better at your hobbies if you stop trying to be good at them. Seriously, just do them. Just make stuff. All right. Sassy motivational speech over. I'm going to go eat a quesadilla. You guys should go get a little treaty treat. If you do take my advice and you actually like do something to treat yourself today, whether it's like a nap or like getting a little special coffee, or I don't care what it is. Tell me about it in Discord. I would like to hear what you guys do for little treats. Maybe I'll get an idea. I pretty much always just eat more. That's my go-to. Surely there's other things I could do. I'm gonna go eat some stuff. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Take care, okay? Bye. See you tomorrow. Bye.